Broadcasting live from Governor's Cigar and Pipe in Monroe's historic Garden District and hosted by the radio people's Griffin Scott. Welcome to Talk 540 KMLB's Coffee with the Candidates.
Hey, and good morning. 6 minutes past 8 a.m., a beautiful Friday morning in Monroe's historic Garden District. I'm Griffin Scott at Governor's Cigar and Pipe right here, 1004 North 3rd Street, joined by my co-host, Bob Lennox from the New Star. Good morning, Bob.
Hey, good morning, Griffin. Good to see you.
Good to see you, and welcome back. This is Coffee with the Candidates, a three-part series. This is our final broadcast of Coffee with the Candidates because, of course, the election is a week from tomorrow on March the 5th. And we visited with several candidates today. We're honored to have Tremaine Dante Gordon. Good morning, sir, and welcome to Coffee with the Candidates. You're, of course, running for Monroe Mayor.
Good morning.
Hey, we provided a list of topics that we're going to talk about. There's 4 of them. If we go through those, then we're going to get some questions from our Facebook page. But I'm going to throw out the topic and talk to you about that. Get your stance, get your platform. Then Bob Lennox from the New Star is going to ask a follow-up question. And that's what we've done with all the candidates in the interest affairs, same topics. Also want to, before we get started, though, rather, we want to talk to you a little bit and offer you a chance to let our listeners know who you are. Before you're a candidate, of course, you were a Monroe citizen. So tell us about Tremaine Dante Gordon, Monroe citizen.
Tremaine Dante Gordon. Grew up in, my mom's from West Monroe, my dad's from Monroe. So North 8th and Haynes in West Monroe, Renwick Street in Monroe. So, I have 3 brothers and a best friend I've been with since kindergarten. So I have 4 brothers. I grew up with 2 parents. My mom, she taught me if you're going to do anything in life, you be the best at it. That's the way I was always taught. So if I'm a mow yards, you be the best yard mower. If you're going to teach school, you better be the best school teacher. My dad, he's tough. He never gets sick. So I never get sick. When I was in school, I never missed out school. I had perfect attendance all my life. He taught me discipline and what I want to say. He taught me discipline. And when I was in 6th grade, I was the only boy to graduate from there. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I've been out maybe one time in the last 5 years. Even when I did party, I still go to Sunday school and church. All my life I've been in Sunday school and church. So since I was in 6th grade, man, me and all the guys in there, we said we're gonna get kicked out of there. They kicked all the guys out of there, but they kept me and they called my mom on me. And I told her I wanted to be the. She said, she wanted me to be the example. She said, you be the example. I told her I wanted to be the first elected black governor of Louisiana. That was in 1994. To this day, we hadn't had one.
So you've had that's true. So you've always had political aspirations.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As a basketball player, I've been shaking hands and doing community service all my life. So I've been serving people all my life. It's like I'm a servant leader. So I'm here to serve.
So is this the first time you've run for public office?
Yes, sir. First time.
First time. Well, you went for the gold, didn't
yes,
you? Run
sir.
for the mayor's office.
Yes, sir. I'm 33. Bill Clinton was 32. I believe he was either the youngest governor ever, but youngest governor of Arkansas, something like that. You know.
One of definitely.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, all right, and with that, we're going to jump right into our topics. We provide, I believe you got the list. There are 4 of them. The first topic we're going to talk about, police safety is top of mind for so many people.
Yes, sir.
Always, especially in this day and age. And tell us, if you're elected mayor, if Monroe citizens choose you to be their next chief executive, what are your plans for the police department? Where do you see need for improvement?
For the police department, I want to get to know all my police officers. I want to build a relationship with them, especially the police chief. I want to get to know the police chief. But my whole goal, I talk to officers all the time. They say, Mr. Gordon, all I want to do is get home safe to my wife every night. So most people think when they see cops, they get scared. But you have to understand, look at it from a cop's point of view. All he wants to do is get home safe to his wife at night. So I'm from the street. So hopefully just having me as a mayor, I like people, they get scared of cops. So I want people to have like police interaction. We do a lot of stuff where people come meet the police. And if something goes on, we have the new app. What's the new app we have? The Monroe Police app we have.
It's the My PD.
The My PD app. So we got that working. But I look forward to working with the police officers, the fire department. So we're gonna get this. I was a substitute teacher for Monroe City Schools. I subbed at Wiseman, Carroll Junior High. So a lot of these young kids look up to me. They look up to me. So I tell them, pull those pants up, man. Put those guns down, you know. So they look up to me, so we'll get it.
All right, before I turn to Bob Lennox for a follow-up question about policing in Monroe and a possible of what your plans if you were elected mayor, let's do a reset. Tell the folks we're doing coffee with the candidates at Governor Cigar in Monroe's in Monroe's Garden District. We want to thank our food sponsors here. We had Faye's Fat Burger, delicious, wonderful food. They're here for breakfast this morning. Union Mill Coffee, and of course, a big thanks to Governor Cigar for hosting us here today. All right, the subject, police. We're talking to Tremaine Gordon. He is running for Monroe mayor. And policing, follow-up question, we're going to go to Bob Lennox from the News Star.
And Tremaine, you mentioned wanting to get more interaction from the police. What types of ideas or programs do you have to bring the community interaction with police?
The first thing I want to do is, as growing up as an athlete, I've been pulled over by the police so many times in my life. So the first thing I want to do when I'm elected in, I want to get these youngsters, like the high school kids and the college graduates, and we maybe block a street off and just show them what to do when the police pull you over. Just show them what the do's and the don'ts of what to do. I said we did it in Austin, Texas, so that's something I want to do in Monroe. Just to pull them over and show you, hands up, show me your ID, show them what's legal, what's illegal. That's something I want to do when I'm elected mayor.
And as far as youth programs, you mentioned you were the only one who graduated from DARE.
Only boy to graduate from DARE.
How do we keep youth engaged in programs like that?
Actually, I ran a successful nonprofit in Dallas for 9 years for at-risk youth. Basketball kept me out of jail. Sports is the best way. Some kids do art, some kids do sports, some kids play piano. We need teachers. We have to give back. When God blesses you with a gift, you either use your talent or you're going to lose it. I don't want to lose my talent. So my thing is sports. So whatever your gift is, you got to give back to these kids. You got to teach them. Even if you baking cakes, teach these kids how to bake cakes. Whatever it is, I got teenagers having babies and they don't even know how to boil water. I have a problem with that. So it's just stuff like that. We got to give back. We as older people, we have to give back. We have to be the example.
Well, and you mentioned kids. That's a great segue into our next topic that we're going to cover here, and that is public education, and specifically as it relates to Monroe. How would educate? What are your plans if there were a Mayor Gordon in Monroe's future for education?
My mother focused on education. You do the homework. No basketball till you do your homework. When I was in school, homework before basketball. Homework always came first. I took education serious. What's normal to me is 103. I studied. I got all my questions right, and I look forward to getting the bonus questions right. So if you're gonna be a lazy teacher in Monroe, I don't want you in Monroe, Louisiana. I take this serious, man. So if you're gonna be a lazy teacher, you're gonna get the hell out of Monroe. If you're gonna be a crooked police officer, you're gonna get the hell out of Monroe. You see what I'm saying? It's time for a change.
Okay.
We need leadership, so I'm ready.
And again, the subject, education, coffee with the candidates. Bob Lennox from the News Star.
Dante, we talk about different programs for youth, after-school programs, things of that nature. What kind of ideas do you have for programs and strengthening those in the Monroe City area?
We have to give back. We need tutors. Everybody's always wanting to get paid. Nobody wants to give back. We have to give back. We need tutors. These recreation centers are not up to par. We need computers for the kids, and we need tutors. And we need to get away from all these laptops and all that stuff. We need to go back to a lot of kids need one-on-one training. Most kids don't do good in the group setting. So we just need our recreation centers. They need more. Maybe we need to add on like a computer room. They need to where we can get more computers in there and just to give back. Flashcards and coloring books and stuff like that.
How does the city interact with, let's talk higher education, with ULM being a very economic stronghold here in Northeast Louisiana, here in the Monroe City limits? How do you see that partnership, or what do you do to encourage that partnership and more collaborations with higher ed through ULM and Delta?
I look forward to meeting with the president of ULM and Delta, and also I have students getting degrees at ULM that Monroe doesn't offer jobs for. I have a problem with that. You see what I'm saying? And our football team is supposed to bring money in. Our football team had been, I want to go to football practice. I want to see some ULM. I'm from Grambling, but I want to see some ULM football. I want to see some defense get played. We're going to play some defense. We're going to win some championships. We're going to bring some money to the city, man. Let's go. And as far as a lot of people say they want to change their name. They like Northeast, man. They don't like ULM. A lot of people say they want me to bring Northeast back. So I don't know. That's something we're gonna look into now. Let's go.
That's some big plans indeed, right there. All right, again, we're at Coffee with the Candidates. We are at Governor's Cigar in the Garden District of Monroe. I'm Griffin Scott. Bob Lennox from the News Stars joining me. And we're spending a half hour here with Tremaine Dante Gordon, who is, of course, running for Monroe mayor. We'll spend the last half of this hour and wrap up, actually, our three-part series of Coffee with the Candidates with Monroe's current mayor, Jamie Mayo. So that is coming up. Back to our list of subjects. Our next one is going to be, of course, about public works. And when we say public works, we're kind of throwing a wide net out there. We're talking roads in Monroe. We're talking water quality in Monroe. We're talking parks and recreational facilities such as the Civic Center or the Louisiana Purchase Gardens and Zoo. So I know that's a wide range of subjects, but we got plenty of time. Tackle them one-on-one or all together, however you want to. But Mayor Gordon, what would be your plans for public works?
I've had the pleasure of meeting Don Hopkins, Miss Williams, and Mr. Tom Janway. I look forward to sitting down with them. You know, I got my 5 city council members, and then I have Don Hopkins, I have Tom Janway, and I have Miss Williams. So I got 8 people around me, this team. So I look forward to working with all of them. And as far as like we have flooding or whatever, like the sycamore trees get stuck in those ditches, so we need maybe some vacuums to like pull the sycamore trees out to get the clogging out. As far as public safety, let me see, public safety, waterworks, the zoo. I say scrap it. I don't know. I say scrap it, man. Get that zoo out of here, man. It makes that neighborhood, to me, it makes that neighborhood look bad, man. And I think we're spending too much money trying to feed those animals. It is bad, man. So, in my opinion, but y'all have to, a lot of people saying we have bad roads and streets. Y'all have to understand that some of these roads are state streets, some of them are city streets, so some of them I can't touch. So we'll figure it out. I will check the budget and we'll figure it out, and we'll get it going, get these streets fixed and these roads fixed, because a lot of people's cars are getting messed up.
All right, so some of our listeners might take issue with that zoo. I grew up going to that zoo. I love the zoo. I've been going there my whole life. Take my kids there. My granddaughter's going to take this.
So as far as,
come on, give the zoo some love.
Maybe I'll go back out there and check it out, because that grass is nice, you know, for picnics and stuff. But it's got the waterfall and everything. Yeah. But that zoo, man, I need to know how much. I'm a numbers guy. How much money is this zoo bringing in me every year? That's what I want to know. What kind of animals do we have? What attractions do we have? You know, we do need a water park. I'm tired of people going to Shreveport and Arkansas. We need a water park. I had Six Flags in Dallas and stuff like that. So just maybe we need something to get it going in Monroe.
Let's bring it back to Public Works. Bob Lennox from the News Stars.
Thank you, Griffin. One of the things, Mr. Gordon, one of your opponents proposes a new arena for the city of Monroe. Another opponent proposes a new hotel and conference center. What do you see in trying to bring attractions or events to Northeast Louisiana and Monroe? What kind of venue would you support?
We need, my people, 6 out of 10 people live paycheck to paycheck. It's 8 out of 10 in Louisiana. So my thing is, I don't care about an arena. Arena's not gonna bring any money. We need a livable wage. These people need to make more money. So the way I'm looking at it, we need a horseshoe casino in Monroe. I don't care where we put. I'm gonna give me a demolition crew, and then we're gonna tear and build these old buildings down. We need to get a horseshoe casino. How many jobs would that bring to Monroe? Get a veterans hospital. How many jobs would that bring to Monroe? That's 2 things I'm looking at right there. We need more jobs. These people want to make more money.
You mentioned, we talked a little bit about drainage. With that, one of the things that's also taking place is with the drainage situation, we talk about water quality and water treatment. There's been a call for an expansion of the water treatment system in the city of Monroe. What do you support as far as efforts there, as seeing water as a commodity that the city's been able to sell to business as well as residential customers?
Water. I seen in Flint, Michigan, I believe they had lead tainted water. So I want to teach my citizens how to maybe test their own water. If we have water issues, maybe test their own water and see if we have any issues. And even if we have like bad water, I need to know if it's coming from North Monroe, is it coming from South Monroe? You know, I need to know stuff like that. So we just need, as far as leadership, I need a leader that I can talk to every week, or we go to lunch every week and just stay on them. I want to stay on them. As the mayor, I want leaders. I don't want to babysit anybody. I need leaders in every one of those positions that I talk to every day. Text message, talk to. I look forward to that. Just working with my leaders.
All right. And our next subject gives me a good opportunity to reset things. We're at Coffee with the Candidates on Talk 540 KMLB. I want to say thank you to Bob Lennox and the New Star for being a part of this as well. And Coffee with the Candidates, Mr. Gordon, we're hosting it here at Governor Cigar and Pipe. It's been very successful. They've been in business less than 2 years. But it's been a very successful small business. Also, Faye's Fat Burger.
Faye's Fat Burger.
You had a Faye's?
That's in my neighborhood. That's right around in my corner. That's right around the corner from my house. That's
some of the best burger one of the best burgers in town. I can't say the best, I might get in trouble, but one of the best for sure, and one of my favorites. They're a small business. Also, right behind us, we're hearing every once in a while that hiss and the wonderful smells of coffee out here. Union Mill Coffee, another small business. So, talk about what small businesses would mean to Mayor Dante Gordon.
I'm a business owner myself. When I was in 6th grade, I played basketball, but my mother, she didn't want me playing basketball. She said, why be a player when you can own a team? So I've always wanted to be a business owner. And I'm thinking, I support small business owners. You have to look at it like this. If we spend the money in Monroe, support the small business owners, then they don't leave town. So they're likely to spend their money in town. You got it? You see how that works? Mm-hmm. We got to start supporting them. I've been meeting a lot of business owners. I like going in there and I see the best of the Delta 2014, best of the Delta 2015. So it's competitive. I look forward to stuff like that, just seeing stuff like that turns me on. So we have to support our small business owners. We take care of each other. In Monroe, we got rules in Monroe. We take care of each other. We family. We all family. You ever seen those Olive Garden shirts? It said, we're all family over here.
Mr. Gordon, when we talk about small business, one of the concerns that's kind of been voiced a little bit is the issuing of business licenses, talking about red tape and issues like that, trying to get the process to move forward. And so, what ideas do you have as far as streamlining that process of business owners seeking that license?
I just want to, a lot of people I'm an educator. A lot of people want small businesses, but they don't know how. Like small business own stuff, so they don't know how. It's our education. We need someone to teach how to get the licensing and everything. I want it to be a smooth transition, just like getting a driver's license. I want people just maybe get someone to teach it. People need to be taught. Just teach me how to get the license and everything. That's how it works.
A workshop type.
Workshop type thing to teach people how to get the license and everything. Smooth transition. And just teach them how to maintain like the rules and regulations, code, so they won't get shut down. Teach them, just stuff like that.
Any ideas as far as incentivizing small businesses and potential owners to open a business?
Texas with 10%. Maybe drop that tax to 9%, man. That might, they're going to be turned up. Turn those taxes down 9%. They're going to love me.
Well, again, this is Coffee with the Candidates here at Governor's Cigar in Monroe's Garden District. Thank you for listening. We are going to be taking a break shortly and talking to Monroe's current mayor and wrapping up our series. We want to thank again Faye's Fat Burger and, of course, Union Mill Coffee for being here, and especially our good friend Friday and Ashley Ellis. How awesome is this place here that we're broadcasting from? Do you like the ambiance?
It's my first time coming here. I love it. Donuts for everybody, great coffee, another small business. I love it.
This is a great place to talk politics as well, because you can come into here and you'll find a guy who might drive a Monroe City garbage truck sitting next to a CenturyLink executive who's hanging out with a police officer right next to the high school coach and talking politics.
Monroe bus driver.
Exactly. From the bluest of collars to the whitest of collars, we all meet here and talk. And this is a great place to talk politics.
Yes, sir.
So we ran through the list of subjects. One of the things that we like to do is go to our Facebook page. We have a great Facebook page.
Yes, sir.
And we want to talk to you about, or one of our listeners at Talk 540 KMLB submitted the question about term limits. What do you think about term limits?
Term limits for mayor?
For any political office.
I believe a lot of these people, these politicians, they've been in office 30 years and stuff, man. We need 4 years is enough. 4 years and then revote. I think 4 years is great. Everything else is 4 years, so they shouldn't be holding positions for 35 years and stuff like that. Because change is good. Winston Churchill said, change is good if and only if it's in the right direction. So I believe we need to start voting every 4 years. These people shouldn't hold these positions for that long a time, Give everybody a chance. Because if these guys never retire, then there's no – we're forced to, the young people don't have a chance. Give everybody a chance. So just like Mayor Mayo, I love him, but, hey, I need a chance too. So like straight down the middle. I want it straight down the middle.
Okay. All right. Bob, do you have a follow-up?
Well, I did notice you mentioned city bus workers, and you talked about the transit system in Monroe. What needs to take place? There's been, we've talked about repairs to buses, the potential for new buses coming in. How does that? How do you see that in your administration, under a Dante Gordon administration? Where does city transit go from here?
I ride the bus, and I want to say this. When we voted in October, they said we had some bus driver ordinances that we voted for. A lot of people said they were telling everybody to vote no. If you don't ride the bus, you can't relate to us. So what I want to say, when people vote, don't vote just because you're mind voters. So get to know the issues, understand the issues. They voted no for a lot of things for the bus. But these buses, we need 2 master mechanics. We don't have a real mechanic. So they need real mechanics with a real salary. We need to get some mechanics in here for the bus drivers. That's one thing, mechanics. And we maybe some more bus drivers. They got a raise, but I believe they took it back in insurance. That's not fair to those bus drivers. That's not really a raise if you take it back in insurance. I'm looking. I told them I ride the bus all the time. That's what I do. So I told them even if I had to use my own salary, I want to get those bus drivers paid like they get paid in Shreveport, New Orleans. Yes, sir.
Final question before we wrap things up: who are some of Tremaine Dante Gordon's personal heroes?
My mom and my dad. The only one ever support. I know everybody. My mom and my dad are the only ones supported me. My mom passed away my freshman year, the day before my birthday, my freshman year in college. And I live with my dad right now. He's been holding me down all my life. So I just want to represent. Since I was a kid, I wanted to go to the NBA and retire my parents. That's all I want to do. That's all I live for, to retire my parents. You got it? So if I'm the next mayor of Monroe, my daddy can have he get my salary. He stay at home, laying the bed all day. You see what I'm saying? Right. That's what I just want to represent. Represent the city well.
That's a good answer about your personal heroes. All right, we're going to wrap things up here. Coffee with the candidates of this half hour. We're going to come back with Monroe Mayor Jamie Mayo and spend some time with the mayor, have some coffee and a conversation. We want to thank Tremaine Dante Gordon. The election early voting is happening right now. Of course, the election day is next Saturday, March the 5th. We'll give your voter number. Final pitch from you. I'll give you the last word.
Tremaine Gordon, number 308 on the ballot. Thank you.
Tremaine Gordon, number 3.
Early voting is today, tomorrow. The Black History Parade is Saturday, and then primary date is March 5th.
All right, so there you have it. Thank you very much, Tremaine Dante Gordon, Monroe mayoral candidate. We're going to take a break. This is Talk 540's Coffee with the Candidates, and we're broadcasting live from Governor's Cigar. I'm Griffin Scott, alongside my colleague Bob Lennox from the News Star, and we'll be back right after this.
And now, back to Talk 540 KMLB's Coffee with the Candidates, hosted by the radio people's Griffin Scott, and broadcasting live from Governor's Cigar and Pipe in Monroe's historic Garden District.
Hey, welcome back to Coffee with the Candidates. I am Griffin Scott from the radio people. We're on Talk 540 KMLB, joined by my colleague Bob Lennox from the News Star. And this is, of course, Coffee with the Candidates, and we're wrapping up our final edition. It's been a 3-part series, listing with all the candidates for Monroe Mayor, and we're going to wrap things up, of course, with Monroe's incumbent mayor, Mayor Jamie Mayo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you doing today, Griff?
Doing great, and welcome to the program. You've been in office, correct me if I'm 14 years?
I have been mayor for about 14 years.
About 14
right.
years.
That's right.
All right, and of course, we've talked with all the other the folks who are vying for your seat, and we gave them 4 subjects. We're going to do the same thing with you today. But before we jump into the subjects, we're giving the folks, you're a little more well known than our other candidates, but still, let's tell the folks who Jamie Mayo, Monroe citizen, is.
Well, there's no question about it. I've been around the city of Monroe for some time. I'm from Morehouse Parish, graduated from Bastrop High School. And, of course, I attended ULM on a basketball scholarship. I just learned on last night that I've been passed by Nick Coppola, who is the point guard. He passed me in the all-time assist record.
What?
So I was number 2. So now I'm number 3, but that's okay. Records may be broken. And of course, I majored in business administration. And then when I graduated, I went into business, went to State Farm. And then I also worked with Allstate and Chase. And of course, I ran for political office in 1992. I was not successful. Ran for city councilman. Then I ran again in 1995, and of course I served as a city council member for about 6 years, and I became the mayor in 2001. So I'm married to a lovely young lady from Monroe. We've been married about 33 years, Angela, and she attended Wasserman High School, and our children grew up here in the city of Monroe. And of course we've been here for that time, and of course since that time I have been the mayor of Monroe. And so it's always been a pleasure and honor to be the mayor of the city of Monroe and to try to make the quality of life as good as we possibly can for the citizens, not only in the city of Monroe, but also for Ouachita Parish and Northeast Louisiana.
Well, thank you, Mayor. We're going to jump right into it. We've got 4 subjects, and the first one is police. Talk about, of course, during your tenure, police work, and what plans you might have for the future. And then after you have your statement about your platform, we're going to turn it over to Bob Lennox for a follow-up.
Well, when you do any type of survey, there are going to be 3 top items that most citizens will be concerned about. One will be economic development and jobs. And the other one would be education. The other one would be crime. They're always concerned about what's going on with crime. And of course, in Monroe, for the past 30 years, crime has decreased. Overall, major crime has decreased some 37%. So we're proud of that. Also, we're always trying to implement type of programs that will help reduce crime. And some people talk about eliminating crime. There's no way that you're going to eliminate crime. But there are opportunities to reduce it considerably. We've put more officers on the street. At one time, we only had 10 on the patrol officers at one time. Now we have over 20 on the street. We have new crime teams, street crime teams on the street. We have the My PD app, which is very important for individuals. Just about everybody has a cell phone, so you can have a free app to them. All they have to do is go to My PD and be able to give the police department tips and so forth. And also we have the DARE program. We have the OK program, which stands for Our Kids, and a number of other programs. But even though crime has decreased some 37% overall, that's still not good enough because there's still challenges as relates to crime. We just hired a crime analyst for the city of Monroe, which is the first time ever, to be able to look at the data and make a determination the type of crime that we're having, and then to be able to communicate those type of crimes to perhaps other organizations that will help reduce crime. So when you start talking about crime, it's more than about just what the city of Monroe can do. It's about code enforcement. It's about faith-based organizations and people working together and collaborating to address crime. When you have dilapidated buildings out there and it's been obnoxious growth and there's been all type of activities going on, drug activities and so forth, well, that is a crime element as well. And so that's why I say it takes a combination of things working together to be able to reduce crime.
Subject is policing and crime. Monroe Mayor Jamie Mayo is here. Coffee with the candidates for a follow-up. We turn to Bob Lennox from the News Star.
Mayor, you mentioned drug use, things like that contribute to crime. As far as the city's involvement in task force and things like that, how do we get a stronger hold in addressing drug issues in the city?
Well, we have a metro narcotic team in Ouachita Parish, and that is a combination of several agencies, a combination of the city of Monroe, West Monroe, and also the parish, and to a degree the state police. And so we work with them, our team at the city of Monroe, we work with them trying to address drug activities in the community. And so we're very, very committed to that. We'll continue to be committed to that. And sometimes we do separate things, but that's pretty much the way everything is set up in the city of Monroe and Washita Parish.
And the relationship with you and the police chief, that's something that's got to come up through this campaign. Your assessment of that?
Well, we have a very good working relationship. I do think that we have a very good chief. Now, again, I want to emphasize that policing is very, very difficult. And other than the mayor, probably the most high-profile person within city government is the police chief. And so there's activities, there's things going on every day. Chief Holmes always alerts me of things that's going on when things happen. You know, I may go from being with kids, reading books with kids, to his calling me saying, well, Mayor, we've got a homicide here. And so we have to deal with things like that. Just like with a couple of days ago when a young man who was actually charged in another state for capital murder, Mr. Quentin Tellers, and also we believe that he's closely situated with a homicide that occurred here in Monroe. And so we have worked together on that. We talk a lot. He calls me. He knows he calls me any time of the day or night to talk about those things. And we get together a lot of times to talk about how we're going to pursue that. So you have to have a good relationship between the mayor and the police chief in any particular community. There's no exception here in the city of Monroe.
Mm-hmm. And our next subject, and again, coffee with the candidates here at Governor's Cigar in the Garden District of Monroe, and we're talking Monroe Mayor Jamie Mayo. Next subject is public education. And I'll just toss that out to you. If Monroe Mayor citizens decide that they want you to continue as their mayor, what are the plans? What is the status now?
Well, we have 6 focus areas in the city of Monroe. I established those several years ago in the early part of my tenure as mayor. And one of the focus areas having to do with partnership in education. And that goes from K through 12 to higher ed, to technical colleges, community college. We do everything that we can to collaborate with all particular areas, because that's very important. There is a linkage between education and economic development, so you can't have one without the other. Public education is very, very important. We have a lot of constituencies that just cannot attend private schools. They just cannot afford to have their children attend private schools. So as a result of parochial schools, so we know public education is very, very important. Now, having said that, we still support private and parochial schools through scholarships that we have with Entergy and other programs and activities that we have. But just now, this year our focus area is building stronger ties with our town and gowns, which consists of our collaborative with ULM, also Louisiana Tech, Grambling State University, as well as Louisiana Delta Community College. So having been on Governor John Bel Edwards' transition team as a co-chair, which incidentally I want to mention, I was honored to have served there to be the only mayor in the whole state of Louisiana to serve on that transition team. That was one of the areas. K through 12, higher education. So that's very important, and we try to make it our business, even though we don't have any oversight over that, to be very much involved. But we know that any community is going to be healthy if we're very much involved in that.
And for follow-up, we turn to Bob Lennox from the News Star.
Mr. Mayor, you mentioned the situation with higher ed. Everybody knows the state budget crisis is taking place right now. I know the city in the past has been able to join with ULM, with Louisiana Delta Community College. Can the city financially continue to support higher ed here in our area?
Well, we have to. We don't have a choice with that. As we all know, higher ed and healthcare is not protected by the Constitution. Of course, what Governor John Bel Edwards and the legislators are going through now is they're having a tremendous amount of a deficit, and they're having to address that. But you can't cut your way to prosperity. That's always been my philosophy since I became the mayor. You have to have a combination of expenditure reductions as well as revenue enhancement. And so our university here, ULM, is like a city inside of a city because they have a number of employees as well as they have a number of services that they provide in addition to providing a good education, as does Louisiana Delta Community College. And so that is something that we have to continue to be involved in. But we put our money where our mouth is. You know, we have contributed probably in cash to ULM approximately $500,000 to them. And we've been able to assist Louisiana Delta Community College in terms of the I-20 Economic Development District. We've been able to help them in a tune of about $600,000 in addition to working with them on different programs. So we cannot afford not to support them and to continue to support them.
And then our next subject is going to be public works. Mayor, this is kind of a cornucopia of subjects. You can tackle them all one at a time if you like. But when we talk about public works, we're covering everything from streets, drainage, to recreational facilities, and specifically the Civic Center and the zoo. I don't know if you heard Mr. Gordon, but he wanted to scrap the zoo. I had to push back on that one. I love the zoo. No, I'm saying that with tongue-in-cheek, of course, but let's talk about it again. If you want to tackle those one at a time, I understand.
Well, the public works, honestly, is very important because they provide a tremendous amount of service to our community. You mentioned streets, you know, also garbage and trash, as well as most people don't know this, but the airport comes under public works. In addition to our transit department, it comes under public works as well. And so there are a lot of services. They probably have they do have one of the highest budgeted areas in the whole city. And so we have a large number of employees there. So it's incumbent upon myself as mayor to make sure that as we're trying to increase our revenue in the city, because that's what it's all about. You have to move that revenue line up, you know, to continue to provide the services that we do. If we don't do that, we have to make a tremendous amount of cuts each and every year. So you mentioned the zoo. The zoo that we have is the largest family attraction in Northeast Louisiana. So it brings people from all over the place. So why would you scratch it? So obviously I disagree with that. The largest family attractive venue in the whole Northeast Louisiana. So yeah, we have a splash pad there that we just put in place, and so that is almost double our revenue because people come to the zoo just to come to the splash pad. So that's very important. Also, right across from there, we have a children's park that I started when I was a city council member, and with $20,000. Now you have a walking track, you have also children's playground equipment, and then people go out there and picnic. Then right across from there, we actually gave the Monroe Housing Authority land, and so they have started 3 phases of senior citizen public housing there, about 99 units there, and it has 2 ponds in there. So the quality of life is excellent around there, and of course that helps us not only from a city standpoint, but also from a regional standpoint. So there's quite a bit that we do streets. A tax was passed in the city of Monroe in 1994, street tax. And when late Mayor Melvin Ramsey became the mayor, and I was the chairman of the city council at the time, we went back and rededicated that tax to a tax that allowed us to do other things in addition to the streets, the infrastructure. We call it infrastructure tax. And so we were able to address also sewer issues, water issues, and a number of other issues as relates to rededicating that tax. That was a 10-year tax at the time, and we were in the 7th year. And then when we rededicated that tax, it created revenue for 29 years. So we really appreciate the citizens for affording us an opportunity to do that.
Mr. Mayor, I want to talk a little bit about water treatment. One of the things that actually just came up last night during a budget hearing, the proposal for fiscal year 2016-17, that is the water system manager, actually the city budget officer, Mr. Hurd, reported that the water system is currently operating in the red. Mr. Benton, the water systems manager, mentioned that that was due in part to increased costs for chlorine that has taken place. But I want to get to, talking about the importance of water and looking at expansion, which you have proposed. What kind of cost is that expansion going to be for the city?
Well, I've said all along that our water treatment plant, well, first of all, our water is good. You know, the collection system is old, and we're working on that because there are water lines that have been in place for a long time. But we're just about nearing capacity of what we can do with our current treatment plant. So there is a need to expand. Why? Because of the growth that we're experiencing, because of the business activity. You know, some people talk about, well, your population has decreased. Actually, it has decreased over the last several years, but as of 2010, it's starting to go back up. But then when you look at the number of water companies outside the city that we sell water to, when you look at the number of companies coming in, like CenturyLink and their expansion, as well as IBM and so forth, and all the development that you see, that's why we're near capacity. Now, I want to say this. Our water fund, it's an enterprise fund. It's profitable. It's profitable. So that is a good deal. Now, where we are now, there may be a situation where there may be somewhat of a deficit now at this point, but the fund is profitable. We make money on water. And so we have already engaged in establishing a plan of action to address the expansion. We've already started that process. But we're going to need, as we move forward, we're going to need cooperation from the city council to help us with that, because we're eventually going to have to flow funds to be able to pay for the expansion. Now,
I'm sorry, you mentioned the process. How far along are you in that as far as the expansion?
Well, I would say we're in the first stage of that process. And so, but again, to be successful, we're going to have city council support to be able to do so. And so, you can't put politics before progress. And so, in order to continue to progress, we will need their cooperation in helping us do that.
Mm-hmm. And our final subject, it's one that's near and dear to our host here today, Mr. Friday Ellis, his wife Ashley. They're the proprietors here at Governor's Cigar. Been a very successful, a great example of small businesses. And we don't even have to turn the corner. We've also got Union Mill Coffee here representing. And one of the, I bet you have had a Faye's Fat Burger before, have you?
I have.
Oh, I love them. And this is my own unsolicited personal plug, one of the best burgers in town. They're here with some great breakfast for us this morning. So small businesses, something very important. We've also seen with the music cooperative, more than one brewery starting off. Very exciting time, it seems, for small businesses. What has your administration done for small businesses, and what are your plans for the future as it relates to small businesses in Monroe?
Small business, they're the heart and soul of our community. They're the heart and soul of any community, whether you're in a city, town, or village. Since 2001, we have had 2,000 businesses that have opened in the city of Monroe. Now, that's equivalent to about 10,000 jobs at least in Monroe. So we're very, very proud of that. That is what is contributing to our record budget surplus of $15 million. We went from a record budget deficit to a record budget surplus. And so we support them by way of supporting the chamber. We have a very good working relationship with the Monroe Chamber of Commerce, but also with the West Monroe West Watchdog Chamber of Commerce. We also work with different groups, small businesses, minority businesses, disadvantaged business enterprise. I came up with economic development funds several years ago where we support our businesses through incentives, and because that's very, very important. And so, to me, business is what makes the world go around, and certainly there's no exception to the city of Monroe. So we'll continue to support small business. And then I want to add, too, that I have a degree in business, and I was in business, and so I had my own business, and so I understand how important it is to continue to try to create an environment that's conducive to their growth. And everything that we do that in mind of making sure that they continue to grow. And then I go to a lot of different seminars, and functions that we have here relative to business and their activities and so forth, because that's important.
Mr. Mayor, as far as business licenses, how do you streamline that process to see even more growth?
Well, one of the things that we hear from businesses all over is that we would like to see the city has more of a business-friendly environment with locally. And of course, I want to say that because we've had 2,000 businesses to open, I think we've done quite well. But again, just like crime, that's not good enough. We're not satisfied with that. Now we have a situation where when we acquired the City Hall Annex on Jackson Street, we put a lot of our folks down there. Now they have to go from the downtown annex where the tax and revenue office is, then they have to go all the way down to Jackson Street, and that can be problematic. And what we're working on now, in fact, we've been working on now for several months, is a one-stop shop where they come to one place, probably, and we haven't made a decision where that's going to be, but my guess is probably City Hall, where they come to one place, and then the people that we have there will be able to conduct business where they don't have to go anywhere else, like things that they normally have to do with tax and revenue, and then down to Jackson Street, they won't have to run all over the place. Now, that is how we're going to be able to assist not only small businesses, but medium-sized business and all business by being able to do things like that, because we want them to know when they come to Monroe that they're going to be treated properly, that they're going to be taken care of, and they're not going to have to run all over the place.
Follow up to that, Mr. Mayor, a lot of people ask about the fund surplus, the $15 million. They say that that's kind of, we hear that, on an annual basis, the condition, the report on that. Explain exactly how that fund balance works. I think there may be, there's a lot of questions about how does this work? What does it apply to?
Well, I remember when we had, let me say this, when we had the record deficit, you get criticized, and I get criticized now for having a surplus because they say, well, you should be doing so many other things with it. But the way it works is that doesn't happen in 1 year. It's taken several years for that to occur. But we have a very good structure and a good process in place such that our department heads understand that I'm going to be very, very sensitive to where they are as it relates to their budget, not just on a yearly basis, but on a monthly and weekly basis, because we meet and we talk about that every single week. And so they know where they are percent to go. And so at the end of the year, our goal is to have $1 surplus every year. Of course, you just can't plan just $1 surplus, but that's our goal, is to have $1 surplus. And so each year, after everything has been, when the auditors come in and they look at things, they may add some more expenses to it, so forth, that we didn't see. We may have a $100,000 surplus. Well, that goes along with what you had the previous year. And so we've had now, out of the 14 years that I've been here, we've only had 1 year where we've had a deficit. And so we've had several years where we had consecutive surpluses. So, but having said that, we have to be very careful in terms of dipping into it intentionally, because if you do that, you have another Katrina, you have a situation where you have some tornadoes, or you have a situation where if there's a situation with any other type of services where it requires a lot of funds, you have nowhere to go if you're dipping into it to give it out, just as easily as some people would want it to be done. And so we have an A+ bond rating that's improved to that. We've reduced our debt $9 million. So as a result of that, there's not a city in the state of Louisiana that I know of that's in better fiscal shape than the city of Monroe. And I'm very proud of that.
All right, and this, of course, has been Coffee with the Candidates at Governor's Cigar in Monroe's Historic Garden District. I love this place, Mr. Matt. I don't know if you heard us earlier. We were talking, coming here at any given day and see a bus driver sitting next to a CenturyLink executive, and they're all discussing politics, and every economic, a melting pot, if you will. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a great place to talk politics.
Well, I think this is a great thing for the city of Monroe, and I was talking to Mr. Ellis earlier, and he was sharing that with me, and I think a place to talk politics, to network, to build relationships, I think that's what it's all about. And this is unique, and I appreciate the fact that it is here in the city of Monroe.
And, of course, as we wrap things up, we want to remind our listeners that early voting is going on right now. Election Day is 1 week from tomorrow on Saturday, March the 5th. And we've got about 2 minutes before we wrap things up. And we'll let you take the last word here.
Well, again, it's been a pleasure to be here at Governor's Cigar and Pipe, and this is my first time, and it's a great atmosphere, and I appreciate your inviting me here. I want to say to the citizens out there, the voters, that there have been positive change over the last several years, and all around the city of Monroe, you see signs of progress, and we appreciate that. From the budget to a new airport to the new renovated public safety center, the river market, also with economic development with CenturyLink, IBM, Vantage, and Gardner Denver Thomas, and small businesses all around. And so we're very, very proud of that. It's taken working together with everybody in the community. There's been some disagreement with council members over the last 3 years, but there's also been some positive things that's going on. Past council members, we've worked really, really well together. So I do ask for the support of the people out there to continue the progress that you see. Again, my number is number 309. This is early voting. We have today and tomorrow to get out there and vote. So we do ask you for your vote. I do appreciate the prayers that people have given me and also the support that they've given me and my family, but also my administration, my employees. We work well together, and I ask for your continued support. And the election is March 5th.
Thank you very much. That's Monroe Mayor Jamie Mayo. This has been Coffee with the Candidates. We want to say thank you again to Friday Ellis and Governor Cigar and Pipe for hosting this series. We want to say thank you to Union Mill Coffee for being here. Face Fat Burger, thank you. Thank you, Wayne versus the one of Mayo. They were here 2 weeks ago. And thank you, of course, for listening to Coffee with the Candidates. We look forward to returning to Governor Cigar, doing this hopefully again someday. And thanks to my co-host and good friend Bob Lennox from the News Star.
Thank you, Griffin. Good to be here. Enjoyed it.
On a personal note, good to hear you back on the radio. I'm so old, he was my boss many years ago.
Oh, right.
He's a big-time political reporter. He used to be a wacky DJ, just like me.
Tell it all.
This has been a whole lot of fun. Thanks to everybody. Thank you to Michael Eccles, Jay Marks. Thank you, Holly Dixon. Thank you, Tremaine, Dante Gordon. And thank you, Dr. Ray Armstrong, for being part of this process. Have a great weekend, everybody. Don't forget to go vote. The election is next Saturday. Early voting is happening now. You're listening to Talk 540.
Thank you for joining Talk 540 KMLB's live broadcast of Coffee with the Candidates. Talk 540 KMLB, proud to be Monroe's place to talk for over 85 years.